Ware County, you've got that television screen up and you're going and listening closely in an interior room away from windows. I just paused there because it does look like the Weather Service is saying there is a possible tornado debris ball over south central Clinch County. So that would be damage of trees. Fortunately, not much population out there like I was mentioning, but something to just keep an eye on. And if we see any signatures like this, obviously in the next hour or so, those tornado warnings are going to continue to be popped rather quickly, and that would include places that start to get a little bit more populated once we head out toward Folkston and Brunswick. But I would say by that time, these storms should continue to weaken. So let's see what the Weather Service is talking about here with the possible debris ball. Again, it's really tough to see, but if you can tell, the colors kind of pop off a little bit differently there. And I can't get the warning here right now, but again, we're looking at two different tornado warnings. We've got Clinch and then also Ware County. And so if we zoom on into the first tornado warning just to the north of Waycross, and I know this can be a little jarring for folks as I'm kind of sliding around here on radar, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is toward Dixie Union right now. Again, if you are in Dixie Union in northern Ware County, if you are in Waycross and Blackshear and you want to head that way, definitely hold off until this storm passes. Give it another hour until that heavy rain and lightning can push on through. But Dixie Union, the worst of your weather is really right on top of you. We've got that little rotation in the storm, some very strong winds, and if we look at the wind speeds, we'll pull out some of the worst of it here. We could be seeing some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts in the Dixie Union area. Again, that's northern Ware County, Waycross, Blackshear, not as concerned for you, but you can still definitely see some damaging straight line winds as this storm blows through. If we compare that rotation to the other tornado warning, and this is out again in Clinch County where we're seeing, you know, a lot of trees, the swamp, Williamsburg and Ernest, this is a much more defined couplet or rotation in the storm, quite a good notch in that bowing line, and so something we'll keep an eye on as well. Again, we've got a little bit longer until this tornado warning is expired. A couple minutes for the Clinch County one, and then we've got a little bit longer for the Ware County one, and they're continuing the tornado warning again for the Ware County warning. And so I think I'm just most concerned right now for Dixie Union because we can see that the rotation is in that area. Although I will say it definitely has weakened, so that's some good news if I can pass along any right now. I know folks don't like to be in the middle of these tornado warnings, but we will get through it, and this is going to continue to blow on by very quickly. Okay, so I know right now it's probably very windy. And we're hearing the thunder, and you're seeing the lightning out there, but this storm is going to continue to blow through, again, moving at 25 miles an hour toward the northeast. So this is going to be headed out toward the Waltertown area. Again, Blackshear, I did kind of include you in this, but it is not the worst of the storm. You're still going to see some pretty strong straight line winds, and that would be around 1 o'clock, 1:10, let's say at the latest. So if we go ahead and just again look at our watch, look at our warnings. We've got two warnings right now, this tornado watch not including Duval County, and we'll just see the worst of our weather kind of really weaken as it enters most of northeast Florida. But right now, the worst of it is still out to our west, approaching that I-75 corridor in Lake City. We're even seeing some of those storms and cells kind of develop just ahead of that line as well, and those could even have some brief rotation in them as well. So the two warnings, again, like you see on your screen there, Ware and Clinch. And Clinch County has just under a minute until that is set to be expired, and the Ware County warning will go until 1 o'clock. For those of you that are not in those warnings, we'll continue to look at the rest of the day, and again, the slight risk of severe weather is why we've got that tornado watch. The ingredients are there for some rotation in the storms, as we are seeing. The rest of us in that marginal risk, we could still see some strong storms. Now, if you do have to head out the door, you're not seeing the rain yet, but you need to get to where you need to be. Just to keep you safe for the rest of the day, First Coast News app is an easy download on your phone, but before you just download it and forget it, make sure you go in the settings, you turn on your notification, and you turn on your location as well. So enable the location, turn on those notifications, and then that will go ahead and tailor those warnings. Let's say you're in Dixie Union right now. You would have had that tornado warning pretty much before we were even on the TV screen here, okay? And we get on as quickly as possible. Just checking my watch to make sure we're not getting any other warnings, all right? Futurecast showing the rest of the day, those storms breaking apart even more so, but we'll still, of course, watch for the stray chance for some damaging winds out toward Duval, Clay, Putnam, St. John's, even into Nassau County as well. Can't forget my friends out in Yulee, Callahan, out toward Amelia Island as well. But I'd say once we start to lose the daytime heating, the storms are really going to whittle away rather quickly, and they pull offshore into the early evening hours. Some patches of drizzle left over possibly into the evening with some clouds, and then the good news, clearing skies tomorrow, and then that cooler, drier air blows in. But again, for now, folks, we're keeping a very close eye on that tornado watch, which is producing some tornado warnings from time to time. Producers in the booth there, Clinch County is no longer in effect. That was set to expire at 12:45, and so that has been officially allowed to expire. The Weather Service just kind of let it go in the meantime. And what they're doing now is they're reissuing a severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so they might prompt another tornado warning, but for now, the Weather Service going ahead and dropping that Clinch County warning, popping a severe thunderstorm warning. You saw that little box pop up there. Northern Ware County, remember, we still have that warning until 1 o'clock. And I know, trust me, I don't like to listen to my own voice this long, but we are going to continue to keep you posted on this system. And I'm sitting back down here over at my desk so I can go ahead and walk you through this Northern Ware County warning, because of course, this is the one that is warned for with folks possibly in the area traveling on the roadways. If you are, listening to us on TV and have to get somewhere, I think you could be about 20 minutes, 30 minutes late, okay? This is a storm that you don't really want to drive through if you do not have to. Right now, we've got quite a bit of lightning still up into the Northern Ware County area, but let's go ahead and take a look. So the last even 15 minutes, okay, we have 101 strikes. And if we go back to 15 minutes prior, you can see how the lightning has really increased. So this storm's still a potentially stronger one. We'll keep an eye on this and see if anything comes in from the Weather Service, but at this point, nothing from the Ware County tornado warning. The tornado debris signature really ending in Clinch County, so that's why they went ahead and just let that one expire. But they are going to continue this warning for Dixie Union until 1 o'clock. So still moving pretty quickly, so that's the good news. But again, if you are in Dixie Union, hopefully you have already found that safe spot. You know what? It would not hurt, although Waycross and Blackshear, you're away from the strongest rotating part of this storm, it still would not hurt to stay inside. Don't be looking outside for, a tornado. We want to make sure everyone's staying inside and watching this storm from a distance. All right, 107 Blackshear is when we'll see the worst of the winds head your way. But again, the rotation is likely just, ever so slightly to your north, if I'm getting as specific as possible here. And again, if you're out on the roadways, it's a good idea to pull over, kind of take shelter if you can. This is likely going to be heading out of Ware County in just, the next several minutes or so. This warning does go until 1 o'clock, but the Weather Service can always go ahead and expire it or cancel it early if the threat does move out of the area, which I would expect. But again, 1 o'clock is when this warning is expired. No other news, and in this case it could be good news as well. I would expect it to be good news. Probably just some really ominous, loud, noisy storms for a January afternoon. We've got a lot of heat today. We can even take a look at our temperatures out there right now. In Jacksonville, we're sitting just around 80 degrees. In Mayport, we've got 81. In St. Augustine, we've got 81. And when we see those temperatures all the way to the beaches, that means that that southwest wind is really pumping in the heat and the humidity. As we see the rain, you can see those temperatures really cooling off. Valdosta 66, 73 in Waycross. But again, these storms still packing quite a punch today with that tornado watch in effect until 2 o'clock. Okay, so the warning goes until 1, but the watch with all of those ingredients in place possible until 2 o'clock. The severe thunderstorm warning, the newer one that was posted, by the way, just to the east of the former one that has kind of encompassed this tornado warning. New severe thunderstorm warning for Charlton, Clinch, Ware counties. That'll go until 1:15. So again, this same line of storms going to be approaching places like Folkston, Woodbine, Kingsland, that 95 corridor up into southeast Georgia. So that's why we've got the strongest section of the storms into southeast Georgia. They're kind of weaker as you head into northeast Florida. So along that I-10 corridor, still getting pretty rough as you head west of Lake City, but there is no tornado watch included for Union, Baker, Clay, Duval, Nassau, etc., because it does look like the strongest of the storms are going to stay north of that Florida-Georgia border today. So as of now, that warning is still going for Ware County, and we can go ahead and just take a little update on the velocity map. And why don't I do this? I go ahead and take it very slow, or at least as slow as our computer will rotate. And you can see the progression of this rotation here with the bright yellow, bright reds and greens on the map toward Dixie Union. So we were watching this storm kind of rotate. It's still pulling up, and you can actually see that rotation happening in the storm a little bit easier as it is moving through in the last hour or so. Just to the north of Waycross, although I wouldn't be surprised here if we've got some of our First Coast News weather watchers in Waycross that are really feeling some strong winds, and also hearing the very loud thunder out there. So it does look like we've got some pretty strong winds in the Dixie Union area. We could possibly see wind gusts up to 60 to 70 miles per hour, and that's pretty significant. That can blow over some pretty big tree branches, some trees. That can also be an issue for power lines as well. We've all kind of been in one of these pretty rough storms before, being in Florida. So we're just keeping an eye on it for our friends in Ware County. It does look like now the tornado watch, just because of the, think about how the Florida-Georgia line kind of goes here. It bows up a little bit around Nassau County. So Nassau County, you are now included in the yellow. That's the tornado watch. So we'll keep an eye a little bit closer now for you as well for the potential for a severe thunderstorm warning, but also a tornado warning as we head throughout the next hour or so. These storms going to continue to blow to the east, and my goodness, this is a long-lasting tornado warning here. How about a way to welcome back from maternity leave? Am I right? Ware County, we're going to be okay. 228, I'd say, by these storms in southeast Georgia and Nassau County. I'm including you as well. They'll be pushing offshore, so that really does line up perfectly with our tornado watch. So by 2 o'clock, Brunswick, Fernandina, we're kind of giving you the all clear. For now, again, we've got those really strong storms that are blowing toward Nahunta, toward Folkston, toward Dock Junction, and we've got a little while to go to watch these until we can really give the all clear. So now I can just go ahead and zoom on out. Remember, this is that same system that's been producing the severe weather for days now across the Central Plains. You can see it looks a whole lot different out to our west, but again, now it's kind of making its way in the form of that cold front moving toward the area. So still on the air right now because of this tornado warning for Ware County. And at the bottom of your screen, you can actually go ahead and read kind of a little bit more about the tornado warning. But I'm just trying to give everyone a broader view of what we're looking at. I mean, for January to have all of this lightning, that's really impressive, right? We see all this lightning in a typical summertime thunderstorm, not really that typical in early January. Charlton, Clinch, and Ware counties, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning until 1:15, and just to the west there's another one that also includes a little sliver of Columbia County, but Lake City, you're just on the outskirts of that. I would still say, though, folks that are in the Lake City area, Live Oak, you've got more rain, more strong winds to come. Fargo, and then stretching up into the Waycross area is where we're seeing the worst at this point. You can see all the lightning kind of clustered right here just to the west of Folkston. Again, we're talking about over the Okefenokee, okay? So not a whole lot of folks in this area, but we're still going to watch it for those of us who are to the east. That's where that last tornado warning was. And then if we look up to the north here, we've still got that active tornado warning for northern Ware County, really focusing on Dixie Union at this point. Waycross, Blackshear, still rather gusty out there for you. Dixie Union, I would say actually the worst of your weather is now moving out of the area, so that's some really good news. If you're listening to me, maybe in a closet in an interior room, still stay put. We still have that tornado warning, but things should be calming down at this point. You're really almost through it, so just hang in there, okay? And isn't that impressive to see the last hour how this storm has kind of morphed, and watch how we've got this strong line of straight line winds and then a little notch. That's all it takes is for a little rotation to start to spin up this storm, and you can really see it feeding itself there, moving out towards Sapville and then right over Dixie Union. Again, the worst I would say is just on the outside of Dixie Union, now moving out of northern Ware County into Pierce County and Blackshear. It's just to the northwest of you. Going to head toward Bristol in the next half an hour. Then that would be the next spot that I would be watching for this rotation if it continues to move up again toward Bristol. So right now this is an old graphic here. The velocity, the worst part was up here, but now it's kind of up toward Beulah Church. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, but Dixie Union, you're now really seeing the worst of it move out. And I'm going to go ahead and focus in closer to Blackshear right now because you're seeing some very strong winds. We can actually go ahead and see just how strong they might be if we zoom in and try to give you as much of a street level as possible out here. We do have, let's see, I would say at least 60 to 70 mile per hour winds that are out in the Blackshear area. So some pretty strong wind gusts. Again, that's enough to definitely topple some trees. But the good news is, all right, producers, everyone listening, we've got this tornado watch still in effect. But I'm going to go ahead and toss it back to regular programming because the warning for Ware County has since expired. We've got this watch until 2 o'clock. But we're going to go to break and let y'all take a breather. I'm going to go get some water as well. And again, that warning for Ware County now expired.